And here's another thing that I learned. This was a crazy one. And you know, shout out Dean Rogers. We didn't like each other in school, but you know, I fully understand why he was being so hard on us. He wrote something on the board one day. Listen to this, y'all. He wrote 18, then he had 4 to 6 in parentheses, and he had 70. And that's all he had on the board. He didn't say anything. I didn't know what that was about. The whole class went by. And then at the end of class, he said, most of y'all are 18 right now. Some of y'all might be 19. What you do for these next 4 to 6 years is going to determine how you living when you're 70. He walked out.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, dang.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Yard Linkup, presented by Historically Black Sense. As you all know by now, I'm DC.
And I'm your girl, Brittany Passion. No talk, all action, and...
It's your boy, Dasan, Onyx Frazier. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Now, we do have a dope guest in the building today.
We do.
But as usual, what we gonna do, we gonna let our boy, DJ Dasan, bring us in. What's up? How you feeling, Dasan? You all right?
Shout out to Duce. What's up, G? In the club with my twin, we be vibing. Classy beat, but they know I be a side buddy. In the session, we be wildin'. Catch me playing with our rolling. They shine. What's up, G? Can't fuck with me. What's up, G? Can't fuck with me. What's up, G? Can't fuck with me. It be the bomb.
He been right for a minute. You see what they talking about?
I really know about you, but I can't party all night. Welcome to my party, drinking every morning. It's a birthday party. I don't really know about you, but I can't party all night. Welcome to my party, smoking every
DJ Dasan, man, I appreciate that, homie. DJ Dasan always giving us the good vibes over here at the Yard Linkup.
Yes,
So, man, we're
nothing
gonna
vibes
get into it
over
now.
here.
You gotta present this one. You gotta
You know
introduce
what I'm
this.
saying? I gotta
Guy.
present. To the left of me, I have a king, okay? A Tennessee State University alum. We have Mr. Terrence Caldwell in the building.
Hey, what's going on?
And he is the CEO and founder of HBCU Alum on Instagram. Y'all know y'all follow them. You know what I'm saying? Everything HBCU, apparel brand, media brand. How you doing, Mr. Caldwell?
Hey,
How you
appreciate
doing,
y'all.
sir?
Thank y'all for having me, man. Very, very
For
good.
sure.
Thank you for being
Good
here.
intro, too, man.
We gotta do it big. I love everybody, but you know I gotta go especially hard.
I love
for the
that.
t-shirt.
Because that's your school.
That's my school.
Okay.
My HBCU.
My bad.
You know,
Oh,
listen,
no
we
smoke.
love all HBCUs, right?
We love
We try
everybody.
to spotlight them all.
Yes.
Tennessee State is the greatest. I'm sorry.
Period.
That's a great answer.
I'm
You know-
sorry about that.
Being that you took the time out to be here, I'm gonna let that slide. I digress though, but you know, hey.
Man, let's get it right, man. I got a question for you, for real.
Ooh, we getting right
You know
to
what
it.
I'm
Let's
saying?
go.
Get right to it. HBCU alum. You know, I seen it. I follow them on Instagram. I don't work with y'all.
As
I
do
done
I.
did some stuff with y'all.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
What prompted you to even start this? And you're doing great. How'd you even
Yeah.
come up with this?
Definitely
and everything
appreciate
like
it.
that?
And I'm going to keep it honest with you. HBCUs changed my life. I
Yes.
grew up in a small black college town, Orangeburg, South Carolina, home of South Carolina State and
wow.
Claflin University. And even my senior year in high school, I got a chance to take 6 credit hours at Claflin, right? So I grew up around this HBCU culture. And went on to Tennessee State, and I ended up getting an engineering scholarship. And I felt like, wow, this is great. Somebody's trying to pave the way for me to go to
Right.
get an education. So I got to find a way to give it back and pay it forward, all right? And so after I graduated, been working in engineering for some time, I felt as if, wow, we got to spotlight HBCUs. Because
Yes.
as you know, in the mainstream media, a lot of times, this is pre-George Floyd, right? You didn't see a lot of positive images about HBCUs
Nope.
on the internet and on the news and things of that nature. So we wanted to focus on students, right? And then spotlight students and alumni on Instagram and Facebook. We got on TikTok, recently Threads, doing all this type of stuff to promote the greatness and expose people who may live in like Iowa, right? Who never even heard of HBCU before,
Yes,
to kind of
yes.
understand some of those traditions and culture and things of that nature. So it grew from there, right? But then I said, man, I had a scholarship for HBCU bound students going back to like 09. And we wanted to find a way to kind of grow that. And with that, I said, what better way to do that is selling apparel, right?
Yeah.
Spotlighting HBCU pride. We don't do individual schools, but we want to spotlight the culture.
Okay.
And with that, people kind of took to a liking to it. And it's been really, really something that's helped us grow and get our scholarship popping. And we've done and given out 24 book scholarships over the past 4 years just off of apparel sales. So it's been a blessing, and we're trying to pay it back forward and keep it going.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you said that, because I'm from Minnesota myself, right?
Yep.
And you know, even folks from Ohio, you know what I'm saying?
Say that.
It's so detrimental for the youth and the minorities in these towns that's not too hip to HBCU culture to see that and to get the exposure. So that's so great, and I'm so glad that you're doing that.
And we don't have that exposure. I'm from Ohio myself, a small city, Dayton, Ohio, and only reason I knew about HBCUs is because of one of my aunts and then one of my teachers.
Right.
And you know, they were HBCU alum, also AKAs, but we didn't have that. I talked to people, and they're like, only thing I knew was the Cosby Show.
Right. And what's crazy about that, no HBCUs in Minnesota. In Ohio, you
got
have
one.
Central
State,
and also
Wilberforce,
Wilberforce as well.
Central and
but they're
Wilberforce.
not large HBCUs that you would see out in you know, we can say whatever we want to say about him, but Bill Cosby, who did a lot of great things, always used to spotlight Wilberforce and Central State. He wore them during the Cosby Show. And shows like A Different World changed the mindset for a lot of people.
Yes,
so
and some people thought it was fake.
Yeah, and we're all one human, right? Because of those type of positive spotlights that you saw on TV from shows like that. But like, think about it. Going back 10 years ago, what type of shows did we have? We had a College Hill here and there, but what type of shows to spotlight students? And now everyone's on social media. Everyone has their phone in hand, right? You're always checking your phone. So one of the greatest ways to kind of market that and help these schools and these admissions and things of that nature, put out positive stories about HBCUs, because they've always been great, right? They've just been underserved and underrepresented.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Definitely underserved and underrepresented.
So, Tennessee State.
Yep.
How did you end up at Tennessee State?
Listen, y'all, coming out of high school, I really wanted to play football, right? And I had a couple little small offers here and there, but I wanted to go to an HBCU. And my final three were South Carolina State, North Carolina A&T, and Tennessee State, right? Because my parents, you know, I grew up in a black college town. My parents, SC State alum, big supporters and things of that nature. And so I thought I was going to A&T. And I thought I was set, right? And they never gave me their scholarship papers. I was supposed to get an engineering scholarship. I never got anything. And I'm on my senior trip, and my mom, I called my mom. She said, "Oh yeah, TSU sent you an engineering scholarship." And I said, "Well, I guess I'm going to TSU."
Okay.
I'd never been there before. But what was really cool about it is, this is a crazy story. South Carolina State's president's son was already at TSU. Right? So think about that. The president's son of South Carolina State had his son at TSU. Right?
Wait,
the president of Claflin University, also the HBCU in my hometown, his son was going to TSU.
Wow.
So it was just a weird scenario.
I
I'd never been there before, but I
lost.
stepped on campus in a summer engineering program, and I honestly said it was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah. But TSU got a great engineering program.
It really does. Yeah, it really does. Really good program.
That's
for
what's
sure.
up.
That's a crazy one.
And did you know them at all or anything like that? Or?
Yeah, you know what? I knew because I kept on going to Atlanta Classic. I grew up ever since '93 going to the Atlanta Football Classic, and a couple of years TSU played SC State.
Yep.
And you know, before it was the TSU FAMU game that happened over and over again, and I remember they had a good band, and they had pretty cheerleaders, and they had a they had a dope school.
You was
I
a
did.
cheerleader?
I was.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
He came for the cheerleaders.
There you go.
I play football. We love the cheerleaders.
That's true. Facts.
So my question is, as you know, TSU, our motto is think, work, serve.
For sure.
So how are you right now in your life? We know how you serving, but what is your definition of think, work, serve, and then how does that play out in your life right now with everything you're doing with HBCU alum brand and just in your personal life and professional life in general?
Absolutely. You have a responsibility, right? People who are younger look up to people who are in college or in the corporate world and things of that nature. And so I think it was really, really important for me to, you know, represent my school, represent my last name, represent my family, you know, every time you step out. And so I've been doing engineering for, I'd say, over 15 years. And in this role that I'm serving now, I have a chance to kind of impact and model the younger people who are coming up in STEM, right? And so from a thinking standpoint, I want to make sure that I'm educating myself and keep myself knowledgeable about different things of that nature. I'd say one thing that I want to name drop. I've never met this woman in my life before, but a book that I read growing up is called Working While Black by Michelle T. Johnson, right? And so if anybody's listening is looking for some type of book to try to, get yourself used to that transition from college to the workforce to the entrepreneurial set, think about that. Because a lot of times you're in a situation, you might be by yourself, right? And there's not anyone there who can give you mentorship. So I think that's another thing. When you're talking about the second portion of that is the working aspect. We're trying to do the work every day, right? And the work is giving back to the community, reaching out and helping mentor someone who has questions about that, and doing what you're supposed to be doing, taking care of your family, doing things of that nature. The serving aspect is trying to not necessarily give back financially all the time, but give back with your time, right? And so I think in the community, in our overall workplace, within our network of friends, we can live with that motto. And that's a real motto that anybody can use, not just TSU grads, for sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's real.
So what are some valuable lessons that you learned throughout college at TSU?
Ooh, good and bad.
And I know it's a lot.
Right.
Hey, talk to us. This is a safe space.
Yes.
Make a copy of every document. That's one thing I always
Make
say
a
too.
copy of every document. Y'all listening?
Oh, man.
Another thing too, and good and bad as we all went through it, but sometimes you're trying to email people or sometimes you're calling people and they may not respond. Sometimes you got to pull up on people.
Ooh, man.
Oh my God! Hey, listen.
Do say.
You gotta pull
You
up
might
on
have been purged
financial aid.
before, but
Yeah, I got
sometimes you got to
purged
go and pull up on people. I think that's a lesson that you learn, and I think that builds character. Everybody had their different issues and pros and cons and things of that nature. But I say going back to lessons that I learned at TSU, for sure is like the networking aspect.
Yes.
You're there at school, yes, to get a degree and all that good stuff. And definitely, I didn't miss any parties when I was in school. But the thing was, you got to go and build that type of network with people that you meet or your peers. Because to this day, I have a running group message of people I went to TSU with or line brothers or, engineering classmates and things of that nature who can give you advice about any topic. Life lessons and things of that nature. So while you're there in school, don't be a hermit. Don't just stay in your dorm room.
Right.
We talked about
Go
isolation.
to the games. Go to organizational functions. Go to parties. Go to happy hours. Make sure you actually do leave there with lifelong friends. 'Cause I got lifelong friends. We all do from school. So I think that's really critical to be and find your purpose and meet people.
Dope. So what all were you involved in at TSU?
A couple of things. Started out in the honors program with Dr. Hope.
Oh, he said he started out. Now what
I'm
happened?
tell you, man. Listen, coming in, I had an engineering scholarship there. Did really, really well my first 2 years. But by that third semester, that fall semester, after we crossed in spring, I just started to hang out at Chili's too much and started to hang out at too many Greek mixes and things of that nature. So I got kicked out the honors program, and it taught me a lesson that I needed to focus. But I also did a lot of things, with Alpha Theta chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated.
Shout out to the noobs.
I had a really good experience, well-rounded experience, ran for SGA, ended up winning a position, ended up doing SEC for a little bit while I was there, worked with a lot of different organizations. We mentored at McKissick Middle School behind campus to young kids. And this is a crazy story too, y'all. So I'm going to mentor a 4th grade class. And I'm talking to this guy and I'm telling them, hey, make sure you stay in school and focus on school. What do you want to be when you grow up? And he said, you play basketball? And I said, no. And he said, you play football? And I said, no. And he was like, why you in school then? And I was thinking at that point in time, he didn't know.
Yeah.
Because all he saw on TV or whatever were people who were playing sports.
Yeah.
And that was like a lesson in itself that he taught me that I had to teach back, because you're just a product of your surroundings sometimes, your society. So we're involved in a lot of organizations, and I was definitely involved in if it was a party committee, I was on that too as well.
We know Terrence, if he ain't gonna do nothing, he gonna party. But you know what? TSU is a party school. Before I went, people was like, all right, be careful, TSU a party school.
I think they say that about a lot of HBCUs though.
They do. They really do.
But I will tell you that them parties and stuff will weed out the people who really ain't
only the strong survive.
Two things I want to drop to you for that one, because that's a good point. We were told first day of like freshman orientation.
Yep.
Y'all heard it before.
Look to your left, look to your right.
That person.
Somebody ain't gonna
be here.
And they weren't.
They weren't.
And they
Real talk.
For real. And here's another thing that I learned. This was a crazy one. And you know, shout out Dean Rogers. We didn't like each other in school, but you know, I fully understand why he was being so hard on us. He wrote something on the board one day. Listen to this, y'all. He wrote 18, then he had 4 to 6 in parentheses, and he had 70. And that's all he had on the board. He didn't say anything. I didn't know what that was about. The whole class went by. And then at the end of class, he said, most of y'all are 18 right now. Some of y'all might be 19. What you do for these next 4 to 6 years is going to determine how you living when you're 70. He walked out.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, dang, you don't have time. Like, you think you got time, but you really don't. And so if you punch out your freshman year, you may not come back. You punch out and you take for granted, you may lose your scholarship. You may get kicked out of school. And so what he was telling you is you think you got time, but you really don't.
Yeah.
So that was a bar. Like, I appreciate that.
It'll go by fast.
What?
Go ahead,
Super
bro.
fast.
No, yeah. And going back to, you know, speaking on lifelong friends that you get at school.
Yeah.
Can you talk about like how important it is for you to, you know, have that community and y'all going through it together?
Facts.
You see what I'm saying?
During and after college.
After college.
Yeah.
And that's a critical thing too, because like what I realized, you know, the more you travel and go places and meet people from all across the country and the world, people are more the same than they are different. Right?
Yes.
That's so
You
true.
can be from, you can talk completely different or grew up in this different environment, but you got similar goals and aspirations. Everybody wants to do well for themselves and make their people and family proud and stuff. And I feel as if having that network of people who will keep it real with you, not just like, you know, like people who look like you, who understand your stuff, who gonna check you. Like Kanye needs somebody to check him. Like people don't have people to check people sometimes, right?
Yeah,
And
that's real.
And so having a community of folks who you may meet, I think that's good. And last thing I even say with that one is, it's not even people you went to school with sometimes. Y'all been walking around the airport or so, and you see somebody with a, say even an Alabama A&M shirt on.
Yep.
Or you see somebody with a Fish shirt, or you see somebody with a Clark Atlanta shirt that's not your school, that may be a kind of a rival or so. But y'all both went to a HBCU, so y'all both can relate to each other.
Right, all the
and
time.
it's definitely always a conversation starter.
Exactly.
Always.
So I've met friends who didn't go to the same school with me, or I didn't even know in school, but like we're best friends because we went through the same grind and struggle and success. So
Yeah.
I think that's critical.
I really feel like HBCU is same destination, different road.
Facts.
You
Facts.
know, I mean, truth be told, like you said, I've met so many people. So I can attest to that. Me and Brittany, we talk drunk all the time.
Right.
Me and Adrena, we talk drunk all the time. Tuskegee, Alabama State. But
Facts.
the connections that you built, man, when I met him, me and him clicked automatically.
Yeah.
Right.
So you meet, it's a lot of HBCU connections that you just have right here at your grasp. Do say, you know, everybody. So it's one of
We a
those
family,
things.
one big family,
It is a
yeah.
big family.
Right.
So I can definitely agree with you on that.
That's real.
All right, do say. So we gonna play a little game.
Uh-oh.
We got going.
We gonna play a little game. So what year?
Now, he gonna like this.
He gonna
'Cause
like,
like to party.
because he likes to party. So he gonna turn us up. He gonna turn us up. So what years were you at the Tennessee State University?
I came there in 2000.
2000.
But
Okay.
I was on that 5-year engineering plan. So
Now
I
the
did
engineer
05.
plan and the nursing plan belong. Okay,
It
so
is true.
05. Okay,
05.
so 2000, 2005. So DJ Duce gonna drop us some songs from that time, and when we come back, you gonna let us know what comes to mind when you hear these songs.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. Let's get it, DJ. Yay. So what come to mind when you hear this? What was you doing? Where was you at? Who was you with?
Atlanta Classic.
So I go to my heaven.
Tell them.
This was like that drunk era for real. Like this was that drunk era.
And you in Atlanta, like Atlanta Classic, I can only imagine how wild and crazy
So what if you go TSU back then, bro? Back in the day, what if you been more right.
Yeah, the 2000, you know, because we had the 2000, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was a whole nother time. That was a whole nother time.
Pre-Facebook, pre-social media.
Man, what? Where everybody was just living and everybody was just enjoying life and you didn't feel like you had to put on. You was just present in the moment. With no people.
Still passed out flyers.
Okay. Man, they used to put flyers on my car and it'll rain to get
Get it out. I mean that though. Nobody put flyers out like that no more. Really. They don't.
that was social media. T-shirt and panties, the cute right there. Oh, come on now. This song still can't DJ say this song. So where was you at? Can you think about a time of a place you was at, what you was doing, what was your mind when you heard this song?
Shout out to all my roommates' ride.
Shout out to you guys.
He was from Atlanta, and so every time he went home for a break, he would bring back like stuff that went in Nashville.
So who was you rocking with, boy? The
That's a tough. Why you
He
put me on
about
the
to, young
spot like
bud,
that?
we about to fire you on your day off, baby.
See?
You is getting fired.
Because I was more partial.
Nah, that's real.
To,
Like,
to
my
Alpha
best
Chi,
friends-
to
yeah,
the
my-
Deltas. I'm sorry. I had a girlfriend in undergrad who was Alpha Chi. So shout out to the Deltas.
Okay.
My best
I rock with
friends
the
are
Reds.
Alpha Chi. Well, one of my best friends is Alpha Chi, so yes.
So you got to kind of let it slide a little bit.
Y'all cool
Yeah.
though.
She finna cry though. Do
Okay,
that shit.
well,
Cry to cry.
Okay, being that
Starting drama over here, so we
he
outside.
started. Okay, being that we on that,
Yeah.
what would you choose? Probates or step shows? What's your favorite?
I definitely say the probate aspect because it was always like a build up, right? It's always suspense. You think you know somebody's on this line or you kind of figure out what's going on. And always I feel like the celebration, the parties, the post probate parties were really, really dope. Afterwards, I would choose that more. Even though, our step shows were cool and they kind of usually happen around homecoming season for the most part. But people were just kind of ready to go to the after party, for sure. But yeah.
Gotcha. So,
Probates for sure.
what would you tell a young person who's on the fence between the HBCU and the PWI?
Oh, great question. Listen, HBCUs truly are life-changing, right? It's an experience that you can't compare. It's going to be 4 to 5 years of almost like a community that's not real because you literally can go upstairs in your dorm or outside to a classroom. You can walk to the caf. You can go to a game. And honestly, you're in a majority setting where probably 90% of the people you're going to see are black or they look like you are in that type of
All
setting.
grinded,
And for multiple schools, right?
Absolutely.
It's a community where it's family. It's life lessons. It's an experience where you're not just a number. You're not going to be, student 300 in a lecture room. You're going to actually know your professors. They're going to know who you are. They're going to care about, why are you late to class? Are you not serious about this? Have you thought about internships? Like they're going to actually treat you with a family-like type of compassion. And I feel as if not necessarily the big schools, small schools, public or private, they all have their different pros and cons.
Yes.
But I feel like it's a celebration of culture every day, right? Like Wednesday, going to get that fried chicken, or Friday, they're going to get that fried fish.
Yes.
It's a thing. Like, you're not going to miss that, right? Even just walking to class. I remember this vividly, just walking to class, just being excited to go see people you're walking past.
You're like, hey.
Yeah, you're right. Like, you miss that. And the day that you graduate and the day you work in the real world, or you go to whatever town you're in, with the exception of kind of hanging out and going to these homecomings and different experiences, or living in Atlanta, you're going to miss that. You're not going to see that again.
Right.
So once again, you can probably get a good world-class education at a PWI as well as you can get one in an HBCU. But I'd say go to the school that has the best major for you. Of the 100 plus HBCUs that we have,
Right.
Especially from an undergrad experience. If you want to go get a upper level degree, a master's degree at another school, you can. But you're going to miss out on that opportunity because everyone that I meet who kind of gets a chance to experience the culture, first thing they say, man, I should have went to an HBCU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody really says it.
And I'd be like, well,
I know.
well.
And it's not too late, but then when you go back for your grad program, it's a little bit not the same.
It's not.
Your experience is what you make it.
And it's so much bigger than going to the football, basketball game, and a homecoming, a step show, or whatever. It's like
Campus life in general.
Yes, campus life in general. That Tuesday night when y'all doing a panty raid or something, it's like you can't get that back.
I remember the panty raid.
You know what that is?
The panty raid.
Please say you don't know what that is.
I want to know.
Nah, the panty raids at TSU used to go crazy. You know what? That's the first thing. Like the stories, the stories, the history, the memories that are passed down generations to generations. Like I heard about the panty raid from my uncle who didn't even go to TSU, and he graduated in like 92, but he knew about the panty raids at TSU. I'm like,
It's serious.
he like, you don't get caught up in.
So what that is? What that is?
So
You gotta know that. You gotta go there to know.
Yeah.
We gonna tell you
it's a
offline,
rite
but if you go to
passage.
TSU, went to TSU, you know about the panty
Look,
raids.
somebody watching.
Wilson Hall
Okay,
getting
Wilson
raided.
Hall getting raided. Raided.
They hit up the pennies. That's all they heard.
But I got a question for everybody. Like, if you could think of one thing that you wish you knew before you graduated, and this for you too, young bud. You know what I'm saying?
I did graduate now.
All right. Hello. Wow. So, what's one thing you wish you knew before you graduated and going out into the real world, or something that you wish somebody told you, gave you the heads up on, or taught you like, hey, XYZ. What's that one thing? And I'm gonna start with you, Terrence.
Okay. And that's a good one. And luckily, I did have some good mentors, good parents who put me on the right path and made me feel like I was wiser than my years at that point in time. And I had some really good internship opportunities. But I would say I wish I actually did more networking. The reason I say that, and I networked with a lot of people. I had a lot of phone number contacts and people that I met. But I didn't do enough networking outside of TSU. And the reason I'm saying that is, we didn't do enough road trips. We didn't do enough extracurricular activities outside of my school setting, meeting people in the city, meeting
like
people.
Vanderbilt.
We went over and hung out here and there. But it's like the people that I did get a chance to meet, I'm still cool with people that I met freshman year on West End or something of that nature. But I feel like you got a period in time and a moment in time where it's easy for you to literally walk down the street, walk up the block, and meet people who are willing to meet new people. Because freshman year, for the most part, you may come in, you might not know anybody.
Right.
You just know people in your class. You're trying to make friends. And I feel like that's a good opportunity to go out and meet and network with businesses, network with people from other schools, network with people who are not even in your major, who you don't even have anything in common with, because you never know who you're going to need or who's going to need you. Right. So I'd say do that and definitely reach out.
Yes. What about you, DC? One thing you wish you knew or somebody told you, like before you graduated, get into the real world.
I can't say that I didn't know it or they didn't really, I didn't really know about it, but the importance of internships. I never did an internship.
Really?
And, I wish I had done one though, just because it's like, we all do what we do now.
Right.
However, sometimes when you coming out of college, when you in that in-between period, it's like, had I done the internship and developed, those relationships with whatever company or whatever the case may be.
Right.
I wouldn't have been so stagnant in that in-between state of leaving college and, being where I'm at now or being, even while I'm still trying to go.
Right.
So definitely internship for me.
So internships, everybody, networking.
True.
What about you?
Oh man! Also, I can't say that I didn't know it, but something that I wish I would have took more advantage of was just being involved, man. Just as far as like this organization, that organization, because once you get out, like the real world starts. You know what I mean? But this is literally your time to take advantage and to fill out new things that you like and that you're passionate about, so that you can set yourself up for when you do get out in the real world and you could continue to do these type of things, right? Yes. So in my case, on the acting tip, you know what I mean? I wish I would have took some more classes and went to more events and theater stuff. So now I get out and I know more people. Back to the connections and the networking, you know what I mean? So that's
But I think that's why like conversations like this are important, because you hear people, they tell you stuff all the time. A lot of people, they don't listen, and a lot of people the people that came before us can sit there and say, well, look, I'm telling you, do this, do this,
Right.
do this.
Right.
A lot of people don't listen.
Right.
But you got people from all different, we from different generations and different schools, different, whatever.
Right,
We
right.
like, look, we right here to tell you, this is like your cousin talking to you right
Okay.
here. Like, take advantage of every single thing that you can take advantage of.
Yes, get involved, network,
You got to answer your own question.
and
got-
internships.
what you got going? Talk to us.
Right.
For me, so I might go. I ain't gonna go deep, but a little deep. I definitely feel like I could have got more involved. Definitely networking. For me, I would say definitely mentors, because I didn't utilize that aspect as much with upperclassmen or professors or people trying to pour into me. And you think you grown. All right. Like you listen. I'm like, okay, I hear you. I got you. But I really didn't nurture those relationships as much as I thought I should have.
Yeah.
And on top of the real life, and them loan repayments gonna come sooner than you think, baby, and the bills is gonna bill. But I would say I wish somebody had told me, like, okay, when you graduate, give yourself grace, because you are not gonna have it all figured out. Like just 4 or 5 years ago, you was 18, 17 years old. So it's like you took a big leap, even just going to college. I'm the first generation. So it's like that was, thank you. So it's like that was a big step within itself. And I feel like all pressure and eyes were on me. But it's like, it's time to grow up. You about to go into the real world, but give yourself grace. You're not going to have it all figured out. You're going to be uncomfortable. But in that uncomfortableness is where that growth comes, is where that now you're learning, you're knowing. And it's like, okay, I didn't get as involved, but now I got a chance to get more involved. I didn't network as much, but now I'm at a job where I can network and I can utilize that now. You know what I'm saying? I didn't utilize my internship. However, but now I am able to, if I'm at a job or whatever, get feedback to somebody about how they can get an internship. But yeah, just really give yourself grace, because when I graduated, I thought I had to have it all figured out. Like, I ain't got no job, man. I don't know if I'm going back home. These bills, I need an apartment. I got to put in a car. What? And I was just beating myself up like, why didn't I have a job lined up? Why didn't I apply for jobs 5 months ago?
Right.
It's like I didn't really have a plan, but I had a plan.
And to piggyback, because I'm in the middle of that right now.
Right
like,
now.
I'm really in it right now. I
Yeah.
graduated 2 years ago, and I was stressing, but then, I'm listening to my mentors and my OGs, and they say, bruh, you only 23 years old.
Give
Go
yourself
do
grace.
what you passionate about right now.
Yeah.
And figure it out. You got all the rest of your life to really lock in when it's time to lock in. As long as you continue to use your discipline and stay hungry and be passionate and ambitious, it's gonna come.
Yeah.
It's gonna come. So don't stress out. You got time.
Give yourself that grace.
Right.
Like, give yourself that grace.
And it's another thing with that. I feel like it's a big need for, I'd say, mentorship or some type of counseling that day after you graduate
Woo.
to like after that, you can get depressed. It could be a scenario that you feel like, wow, I went to school, everybody knew me here. I was in this organization. I did this and that. I did this internship. And then it's like, boom, I graduated. What's next?
What's next?
Right? And if you don't have your plans lined up to start your business or go to grad school or go in the workforce or go back and volunteer, take a little gap year or whatever you want to do, it's tough. It's humbling. And everybody doesn't have their plan together when they walk across the stage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So-
and sometimes even if you got your plan together, things might fall through. So it might be like, yeah, you got your plan, but that plan, you graduated in May, that plan don't start till August.
Yep.
But people got to understand it goes beyond just getting a piece of paper too.
Yeah.
It goes beyond graduating, because truth be told, I've said this to a lot of people, I think a degree just shows that you're dedicated and can apply yourself. Agreed. You're dedicated enough, long enough to complete it, and you can apply yourself to do the bare minimum of what you need to do in the real
What was
world.
required, yeah.
You're trainable.
But while you're doing that, you still need to take advantage of everything else in order to get it together.
It's like a combination, accumulation of everything. Everything we said, the involvement, the internships, the networking. Giving it like it's a everything gotta work together.
It really is.
Absolutely.
So don't be a hermit.
True.
True. Now, please tell the audience where they can find you at.
Follow you, your brands, everything you got going on.
Absolutely.
All that.
Well, we've been blessed, man. We got a real dope, organically grown audience that's really passionate about HBCUs.
Yes.
And they definitely very vocal about spotlighting their schools specifically.
Okay.
But we are on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Threads, Facebook under @HBCU Alum. And you can check out our website, thehbcualum.com.
Yes.
And we're dropping our 2024 scholarship applications. They are due April 1st, 2024. And so if you are a HBCU-bound student looking to enroll at a historically black college university this fall, at a 3.0 or higher, want to write a 500-word minimum essay, we got some money
Don't
for you.
use AI.
We got some money for you, guys.
I know, right?
But take advantage of them scholarships, though, y'all.
Scholarships are real. It's going to
For
help
real.
out books, tuition,
Listen.
whatever you need, because you're going to need that money.
You're going to
Say it
need that money. So if y'all didn't hear nothing else, if you are HBCU bound, please make sure y'all take advantage of all scholarships. A scholarship if you're left-handed, if anything, blue eyes.
They got
not
them
blue
out
eyes,
there.
but
They got them out
blue
there.
eyes,
It's a scholarship for like everything.
I
I think that need to be a whole new segment.
Yeah, we just need to do a segment on
Scholarships.
scholarships.
Y'all know how much money people leave on the table every year because they just didn't apply and they got
They
lazy?
didn't apply.
It's so many scholarships. Apply. Even when
don't
you're
know.
in school,
Yeah.
apply like after your freshman year, after
Every
your sophomore
year,
year. It's
yeah.
still scholarships for you. Apply.
They
out
told
to
me
my
I can
mama.
get a scholarship just for being one. I think I'm 1/6 Indian. I was like, really?
real?
They like, yeah, my great grandma. They was like, oh yeah, you can. I'm like, I'm about to write that and claim it. They like, see,
You
missing
got
money,
that money.
Indian in your family?
missing money.
Dang.
Huh?
You got Indian in your
You
family?
know, I'm black.
I see the head.
Yeah.
Look,
for
no,
sure.
I see that.
I got the
Not
Indian in my
Cherokee.
family.
No, dead serious, like Native American. But I'm black.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Like the hair. But look, y'all have been tuned in. Y'all know it's always a vibe here at the Yard Linkup, presented by Historically Black Sense. We had a great time with Mr. Terrence Caldwell. Make sure y'all follow him on HBCU Alum on everything. I ain't got Threads, Twitter, X, whatever it's called now.
It's just a dope
But we
page.
gonna get it. And make sure y'all get the merch, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Support HBCUs,
They're so
rep your
dope, by the way.
HBCU, and we are out. DJ Duce, drop
This is a
that.
public service announcement.
Okay.